And Friends comes away with a rebound and a chance to take the lead. 33-32, Emerlehu going for the lead from the left wing. Emerlehu with the triple on the move, ready to run her from 8 feet. No, Jackson snares down the miss and then puts it home for the right side. Jackson in double figures for Friends. Trey Reed looking inside, off to Emerlehu, turns down to 3, kicks it left wing to Trey Reed. He drives in the lane, now to the rim, scoops it up and in, and he got fouled. 7. Tabor ahead with 1:40 to go in overtime. Here's Garner, strong move to the cup on Zoe Rust. She throws it up and makes it, and she gets fouled for one more. Friends ahead, Barberry goes up, and he flushes it down. Barberry taking flight and getting a body in the process. What's going on, everyone? Voice of the Friends Falcons, Pat Strathman here with another edition of the Friends Basketball Show, the final one for 2023. Hard to believe 2024 is just around the corner, but we are officially here. The winter break is officially here, and a lot of exciting stuff to talk about here today from Walk On Sports Bistreaux, one of our favorite places to be. If you are a fan of that game day atmosphere, this is the place to be. Lots of TVs on the wall, not to mention they have all the wonderful food from the game day menu, but with a southern twist. It works so well together. So we appreciate Walk On Sports Bistreaux for being a proud sponsor of Friends University Athletics. Here for tonight's edition of the Friends Basketball Show, we have head women's basketball coach Dean Jaderston and the women's basketball team at this point, 7-4 overall, 5-1 in conference play. Falcons, they do have one more game in 2023. They play Missouri Valley on Saturday, December 30th inside the Garvey Center. So we'll talk about that. They will resume conference play in 2024 at home against Tabor, a monster game at 6 o'clock on January 3rd inside the Garvey Center as well. So we'll talk about those things. But, of course, we've got to recap the last couple of games for this Friends women's basketball team. And I guess we just got to go back to Southwestern because we've talked about St. Mary before. We talked about the Ottawa game. So let's talk about the final game there against the Southwestern Mound Builders. You guys get a dominating win, 88-45. A lot of things went well in that basketball game. You guys led by as many as 45, if I recall correctly. A lot of good things have to happen in order for you to get to that point. And safe to say, a lot of things did happen in that game, Coach. So your thoughts on the win against the Mound Builders to wrap up conference play in 2023.
Yeah, that was a really important one for us, bouncing back after St. Mary. What were we going to do? What kind of mindset were we going to come in with? And I was really pleased from top to bottom in our roster. I thought our practices were good leading up to it. St. Mary or Southwestern's in a rebuilding year with a new coach, but sometimes those are the teams that are really dangerous, and you can drop your level of play and kind of match wherever you're at. And our whole goal in that game was to go in and do our stuff, guard the way we guard, run our offense, get the matchups that we wanted to get, and execute. And I was really pleased coming out of the gate. They hit a few shots, and we just stayed with our stuff, and you could just see as the game went on, our team just kind of settled into who we want to be. And it helps when you got some size matchups that are preferable. But I thought it was a really good bounce-back game for us. And then the second half, we just kept going. We didn't change. And that's usually kind of the danger spot is, okay, so you're up 20, you're up 25, how are you going to play? And I thought we just kept executing all the way to the very end. So it's what we needed, back on that winning streak in conference play, and it was a night where everybody got to shine a little bit, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that was probably the best thing I was going to bring up was everyone had their moments. I know for Trinity Johnson, she had a career-high 14 points in that game. Taylor Jackson with the size advantage with 19 points and 14 rebounds. But if you look at the amount of people that scored It was a little bit of everything, and really one person in particular who I felt like, came out of that game. I was like, man, we really got to highlight her here today, and that is Tia Hagan. I felt like that was her most complete game being a Falcon. In 20 minutes of work, she had 5 points, had 8 assists. She did have 3 steals. She had 3 rebounds. She played with pace. She seemed comfortable. And, of course, it's easy to say that when you are leading by 40-some points. But normally in that moment you get a little sloppy. You turn the ball over. You might not be quite as effective. But I felt like Tia, that was by far and away her best game as a Friends Falcon. What did you see from her?
Absolutely. Tia's had to make this not transition, but last year we had to throw her in probably before she was ready, and she battled. One thing you love about Tia is she's always going to compete. She's always going to give you everything she's got, and she got thrown into the deep end and is like, okay, hang on, but through that process she got better. This year now she gets to really settle into being a point guard. And I think that was part of the big transition early for her this year, as she was trying to score a lot and realizing we've got a lot more scoring punch on our team this year. We've got people who can shoot it, people who can score inside. How do we facilitate the offense and get it going? And Southwestern, she settled into that rhythm where she was playing with the other 4 people really well on the floor, bringing the energy, bringing the fight, bringing the competitiveness, but trusting ball movement, trusting people moving to where they're supposed to be, and just getting the ball to people in the right spaces. And I thought that was the most under control she's played. Really bodes well for us that if she continues to play like that, it gives us a lot of depth at the point spot that we were worried about earlier this season.
Dean Jaderston, our guest, head women's basketball coach at Friends University, here on the Friends Basketball Show on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM, broadcasting from Walk-On Sports Bistreaux. The Falcons wrapping up conference play in 2023 with a throttling of Southwestern. Trinity Johnson that game was able to hit 4 threes, a career-high 14 points for Trinity. It seems like this year you've had your transfer guards. It's been interesting to kind of follow. It's like when maybe it's an off night for Corey from beyond the arc, there's usually Trinity who's able to hit some threes. If it's an off night for Trinity, there could be Corey Babcock. If you maybe have an off night for Lauren, those 2 players might be able to hit. So it seems like whenever maybe one's not maybe fully in sync, someone usually picks up the pace a little bit more. And for Trinity in that game, that was a good display of shooting against the Southwestern Mount Builders.
Yeah, we had a number one priority this year is we had to get better shooters and scorers on the perimeter. Last year, by the end of the season, we could guard really, really well, but points were so hard to come by. And we just had to get kids who, if they're open, they're going to put the ball in the basket. And so with Trinity, with Corey, with Lauren, Ashlyn shooting the ball really well, with Jaden getting more and more confidence, we got some kids who, if you get them into space, they're likely going to score. Trinity's been battling her back all season, and it was starting to get to her these last couple of weeks, just the wear and tear. It's first full season for her, in a year and a half. So it was nice to see her. Trinity sometimes hunts her shot a little bit. She wants to get going. She knows that's a big part of her role with us. And in Southwestern, she waited for those moments, and people found her. And I think that's the most in rhythm I've seen her shoot this year. And we can get her in rhythm in those spaces. She can really stretch the floor for us.
Yeah. Well, she's had you thrusted her into the starting lineup.
Yeah,
after Cassie. So, how well has she done, adjusting to that?
Yeah, when Cassie re-injured her shoulder, it's an interesting one because we didn't want to play her too many minutes first semester. You don't mess around with backs, and we wanted to make sure that in February she's going full speed ahead. Well, when Cassie went down, we had to make some adjustments, and we went from being a big team to a little smaller team, but Trinity stepped into that. We're still trying to figure out a couple of rotations. It's, with Ray, you can play her on the wing or you can play her at the 4. Actually, sometimes it's easier to get a three-point shooter open at the 4 spot than it is at the 3 spot because the people who are guarding them aren't necessarily used to guarding the perimeter in the same way. So we're still kind of experimenting with that a little bit, and the Southwestern game actually gave us a chance to try a couple different things, and we'll build on that hopefully second semester. But we need her to make shots. There's no doubt about it. And the other thing about Trinity is she has really good instincts defensively. When she's on the floor, she sees some things that are happening and usually picks up a steal or two for us in a game just by making a basketball play.
Friends basketball coach here on the program, Dean Jaderston, the Friends women's basketball team with a W over Southwestern to wrap up conference play in 2023. They have one more game after that before a little bit of a break before Missouri Valley College, a top 25 team, number 23 in the country in College of the Ozarks. And, this year, the way I kind of looked at it going into the game was you've had a challenging non-conference schedule. You're looking – Oklahoma City was a good win on the road for sure, but it's like, man, you're kind of searching for one more big marquee win, and you're like, all right, well, top 25 team coming to town. This is the opportunity. But College of the Ozarks traditionally – pretty solid. I know there for a couple of years they were out of the NAIA for a moment. Now they're back as an NAIA institution. I've always noted that my first taste of College of the Ozarks was a throttling by the Bobcats taking out Kansas Wesleyan. And there in the first quarter, you saw College of the Ozarks. They raced out to a big lead, 21-9, and you're thinking, okay, well, maybe the wheels will fall off the bus. You hope that's not the case, but College of the Ozarks, they tend to do good things to make you sweat a little bit. But your team didn't flinch. You guys were able to battle back in the second quarter, and you guys had a third quarter lead going into the fourth quarter. You led by as many as 7 going into the fourth. Comes down to who's going to make shots and make plays. College of the Ozarks did that at a little bit higher of a level than what you guys did in the final 10 minutes of play in a 72-59 loss to College of the Ozarks. After watching a bit of film, what stood out?
Yeah, it was they're a very good basketball team, and they shoot the ball incredibly well. We knew that going in. They're one of the best mid-range shooting teams that we've played against. And they run their stuff so well. They space the floor, they're patient, and they capitalize, it seems, on every defensive mistake that you made. And one of the things about our team this year, we know it doesn't matter what the score is in the first quarter. We can come back. Unfortunately, we've had to do that a few times, and we've figured it out. We're still trying to figure out how we start a little bit better. That's going to be a big priority second semester. But, no, I thought we made an adjustment defensively and sped Ozarks up a little bit in the second quarter. That got us some transition buckets, and that kind of changed the tone of the game. Watching film, the biggest thing in the fourth quarter was we quit getting those transition baskets. And part of that, they hit 5 of 7 from 3 in the second half. They shot this incredible percentage from the field. And if they're making shots, you can't get out and run. And we did, I think, finals week is always a weird time to play. Kids are tired mentally. We quit rotating. We were so worried about their shooters, we quit trusting some of our rotations, and we got really distorted. They did a good job of overloading sides, and going back to film, you could just see, oh, here it comes again, and players trying to make the right play but not trusting the rotation behind them. And we'll learn from that one. I thought we competed really well second and third quarters, and actually it's a 6-point game with 2.5 minutes to go, and we've got the ball. We hit a shot there. It gets really interesting. We miss, and they hit a 3, and all of a sudden it's up to 9, and the game is pretty close to being over at that point. But it was a great basketball game. Got some really good play. Corey Babcock hit some big shots going into break. Lauren played really well at the point, especially in transition. And we also, one of the things that's fun, and as a coach, you're looking at this process over the season. We're seeing our high-lows now. We're not always completing them yet, but we're seeing them. And that's the first step. And there's 3 or 4 turnovers that we had that, to me, were good turnovers. That's the play we need to make. There's no difference from that pass being stolen to missing an open jumper someplace. And so if we can work on the technique of completing those, when we've got people hitting on the outside and we can get the high-lows going on the inside, we become a lot more dangerous offensively. So it's another step in that progression. Not quite there yet, but gives us a lot of room to get better second semester.
Or we brought up the rotation. The one thing I thought College of the Ozarks did extremely well, they never stopped moving.
Oh.
I felt like they moved all the time. I'm like, these guys just don't stop. They keep coming at you. And you guys might be good the first initial, step there on defense, but then it's that backdoor cut, and there's a layup, and it's like, man, well, I mean, that's what makes them a good basketball team.
Yeah, and they have some really, really good players. There's a couple rotations in that third quarter. We did exactly what we wanted, and a kid who has made 6 threes on the season hits back-to-back threes.
Yeah.
And you got to tip your hat to those moments. One of them was contested, one of them wasn't, and if they missed that shot, we're off and running. And the fact is, they hit all those mid ranges. And fourth quarter, they shot an unbelievable percentage. That was a thing we could not get out and run. And we were better in transition. They were better in the half court than we were, and they made it a half court game down the stretch.
Dean Jaderston, our guest, head women's basketball coach at Friends University, here on the Friends Basketball Show from Walk-On Sports Bistreaux. Falcons falling the College of the Ozarks 72-59. You brought up Corey Babcock making some shots going into the break. I think that was the first question I asked you in postgame was, what can that do? Now, you wish you could bottle that up and reserve it for 2024 and just unleash it then. Obviously, you want to use it on December 30th. We take on Missouri Valley College. I don't think you're going to turn that down. But to see Corey make those 5 threes to finish with 15 points, what can that do for her confidence going forward?
That's what Corey can do on any given night. It's to us, it wasn't an aberration. We watched her shoot in practice. We've been working a lot on her footwork. She put a little extra hop in on her jumper, and when she takes that out, her rhythm's really, really good. And so break gives her a chance, gives her shins a chance to settle down a little bit, gives her a chance to get back in the gym and just work on some rhythm shooting. But that's why we brought her here. We know she can shoot it, and we know she can guard. So it's getting her into the rhythm. And I say this a lot. With these new players this year, it's all about them learning to play with each other. There's a couple times we go to swing the ball and nobody's there. Or we drive and 2 people are watching to see what happens instead of moving. You picked up on the way Ozarks moved without the ball. It was very, as a coach, it was very impressive to watch. And we're still learning where to move. Sometimes we run into each other. But that's also the fun part of the season. We see so much potential for growth as they continue to learn together. And not just this year, but next year, we only lose 1 player to graduation. So this group gets to play and really improve day after day, week after week, month after month. They're going to be pretty good when it's all said and done.
Well, I know Taylor on the opposite side, maybe it was a little bit tough of a day there at the office, but defensively, going into it, when you just look at stats and you see Susie Moran's stats and you see the double-double and you compare her numbers with Taylor's, and it's like, well, I know one matchup I'm looking forward to tonight, and that's the battle between Taylor and Susie. I know Susie ended up getting 17 rebounds, and she finished with 11 points, but she was held 3 of 7 from the floor. I couldn't help but think, well, Taylor's got a lot to do with that, and I felt like defensively that was a big key in the game.
We did a good job, I thought, of neutralizing her impact on the game. The board, she's an incredible rebounder. She's so quick to the ball. And she gets every game 2 or 3 rebounds. She shouldn't get, but she still goes and gets them. She had a jump shot. She had 2 layups that were quick slips. And again, our rotations weren't where they were supposed to be. But in terms of just low post play, she didn't score on Taylor. And that's what Taylor does. She can change the game. She can neutralize. When we played Columbia, their post was going 20 a game. I think she had 3 or 5 points or something like that, maybe 7. But most of those were free throws. But Taylor changes the inside of the game. We've got to get Taylor right now is in her own head when it comes to scoring. She's getting a lot of good looks, and we've just got to get her to settle down, find her rhythm on the offensive end. But that's another place as she finds that rhythm second semester. She's becoming a really, really a complete player. You watch her guard. She's guarding some people on the perimeter. She's getting deflections, and she's also moving better than she ever has since she's been here. So it's nice when you get players who continue to improve their junior and senior year. It's not just they get to a certain place and they play that way, but they keep improving their skill set. So we can get her to finish a little better. Should be fun to watch next semester.
Missouri Valley on December 30th. Missouri Valley coming from the heart of America, so traditionally you're thinking a pretty solid program. Your thoughts on the Vikings?
Yeah, they're talented. They've had some big wins. They've had a couple of perplexing losses, but when you play a tough schedule, that happens. Have not looked at them personnel-wise too much. We were getting through finals and getting through Ozarks and taking a break, so that'll be the next thing we look at. But like I said, they've had some good wins. They're just going to bring really athletic kids who play hard. It should be a really evenly matched talent-wise, I think, and hopefully being at home is going to be a big help for us. We're not going to have a lot of fans because it's during break, but the friendly confines of the Garvey Center should give us a little edge there. But we need that game. Even the Columbia game where we didn't play great, that was a huge game for us to kind of get a rhythm back before we started conference play. And you're right, Tabor coming back as our first conference game looms huge.
Undefeated in conference play at this moment.
And, with the unbalanced schedule this year, some people play people twice, some people play people only once. And so when you're playing those top teams in the conference, you have to take advantage of those. So they're playing really well. They beat Ozarks to start the season, the very first game of the season. They haven't been pushed real hard in conference play yet. So, we're going to have our hands full. But, again, I like our matchups with them. We've played them pretty evenly. When you look at wins, losses over the last 2 or 3 years, it's been a pretty even battle back and forth. So we'll be ready.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for it. Well, with this kind of being the 2023 wrap-up show, if you will, what are the things that you've been impressed with at this point, and what are some of the big focal points going into 2024?
I've loved watching our team come together and start trusting each other, learning how to play together, learning how to actually let go of some habits or even a little bit of our pride and just, okay, what's best for the team, and watching them enjoy playing together. Putting these pieces together, it's been a lot of fun watching our staff grow this year as well as they're working with players. I still feel like we're just scratching the surface, and as we find this rhythm, I think about Lauren's first 2 or 3 games at point guard and way she's playing now and how she's finally settled into there and trusting the process. I think about getting Cassie back, and she gets a little better each game, and we kind of manage that shoulder as we go through. And there's just all these pieces that I think can get better and better and better. So I think that the team you'll see at the end of the season is going to be a whole lot better than this one. We've got to continue to learn how to move offensively. We've got to trust our defensive rotations. But the other thing that I think is just a great group of kids. They're fun to coach. I didn't talk about her much, but Ray's had a great semester both in the classroom and on the court, so it's fun this year to be planning to see that continue. And in that Columbia game, she made some shots that were just unbelievable. And if we can get going in transition, she's such a weapon in transition. That's going to be another thing for us to build on. So lots of fun things to think about, lots of fun little things to wonder and try and experiment. But for the most part, the biggest thing is they're just a great group of kids to coach, and I'm having a lot of fun with them.
Favorite Christmas movie?
Favorite Christmas movie would be Die Hard.
Of all the answers, I don't think I would have expected that from you. I don't know why.
Well, that's just because that's the most unusual Christmas movie there is out there. So, no, if besides that, then it's probably a Christmas Vacation.
No, that is a Christmas movie.
That is.
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is. Absolutely it is. So I appreciate that. That was a nice little curveball there. But Christmas Vacation, as you brought up, that's been the number one answer I think everyone's been saying I always ask that question to everyone. Almost everyone says Christmas vacation. So exciting stuff. Well, hopefully you don't have to deal with too many Cousin Eddies, and hopefully you have a great Christmas and a great New Year. We'll talk to you again here before too long, Coach.
Sounds good. Have a Merry Christmas, you and your family.
Thank you so much. Dean Jaderston, a head women's basketball coach at Friends University, here on the Friends Basketball Show on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Friends women's basketball 7-4 overall, 5-1 in conference play. The last conference win, a W over Southwestern, 88-45. Last week, a loss to Ozarks, 72-59. One more game to go before 2024 is officially here. It is on Saturday, December 30th at 3 o'clock inside the Garvey Center. Come on out and support this team. Should be a fun one on December 30th at 3. And then the first conference game, January 3rd against Tabor. A monster of a game as Tabor is undefeated. Friends with just one loss. And conference play should be a dandy of a ball game. To be honest with you, you get a chance to settle in and, get used to the Garvey Center because the next 3 games are going to be right here in Wichita. So come on out, make plans for that big game on Wednesday, January 3rd at 6 o'clock against the Tabor Blue Jays. Well, that does it for us. We appreciate all the support from Walk-On Sports Bistreaux. It is always a great place to be. If you are in that college football bowl season mode, if you're a fan of college basketball, a fan of NBA, whatever it might be, they have it on right here on their many, many screens out here on Maze Road. Coming out and be a part of the atmosphere at Walk-On Sports Bistreaux, and make sure you get some game day food with that Southern twist. It never misses. It is always a big-time thing, and we certainly appreciate Walk-On Sports Bistreaux for allowing us to be out here to record these Friends basketball shows. On behalf of Dean Jaderston, I'm Pat Strathman saying so long from Walk-On Sports Bistreaux. Thank you so much for watching and listening to another edition of the Friends basketball show on ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. On behalf of everyone here, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.